First outing with a Dixie Pedersoli Scout Flintlock shotgun. William Hovey Smith, 2018. I'm the author of Extreme Muzzleloading, and this is the Scout's first trip out in the woods.
This is Hovey Smith, the backyard sportsman. And it's very nearly time for me and our Scout shotgun here to go out and seek game. It's a drippy, drizzly day right now, and we're supposed to have heavy rain for the next 2 days. So if I'm going to get out and hunt squirrels or anything else with this gun, well, now is the time I need to be about it. If you've not seen the previous video, this is the Dixie Pedersoli Scout shotgun. It's 12 bore, a muzzleloader of course, and a flintlock. And over the last couple of days we developed loads for it. So now we're getting it ready to go in the field. Now it has been tested, it's shot good targets.
This is a target at 30 yards with number 8 shot.
And now it's ready to go out and see if we can find some game, particularly squirrels and maybe a rabbit to shoot with it. So we're going to be loading it with number 6 shot. This gun, unusual for muzzleloading shotguns, does not come with a ramrod or even a provision for mounting one. It was designed to be used at the shooting range. So consequently, I'm carrying a ramrod stuck in my belt with a ramrod extension on it, so I can get a good push down the barrel as well as a little extra room when I start cleaning. This is a single shot gun. Consequently, I may need a backup shot. So this is why I'm taking this 1858 Remington revolver loaded as you see on my belt. If I have to put another bullet in a squirrel in a hurry, okay, this is what I'll use. Or, should I run into a hog? Well, yes, I want something that's reasonably capable of taking it. Although I would not take on a huge hog with this gun. This is just too puny. Smallish hogs, 70, 80 pounds, no problem. 200 pounds, problem. So this ain't a gun that should take on a 200-pound hog. I do have some that could and did and have, but not this little fellow. Okay? To get rid of the big things here, this is a shooting bag. If you are going to hunt with a muzzleloading shotgun, yeah, you need a shooting bag just because of the bulk of the components. And this is what that is. This is a cushion. I take this because it's been wet, plus sometimes the most effective way to take squirrels is sit and wait on them for a while. Particularly if you're in an area where squirrels are moving and you can't approach them, but they can approach you. Like when they're coming back to a den tree. So then you sit and wait, and when one gets close, you take it. Now, for more of the hardware, you obviously need a powder flask. We may shoot 6 shots if we're fortunate, so this holds more than enough powder. We need a priming tool to prime the pan, and this little device here is, and it has 4F powder in it, and I've checked and it has a sufficient load for about 10 shots, so we're good there. Then you need wads. We're going to use an over powder card right here, a cushion wad right here, shot of course, and then an overshot card here. Now we need something to measure things with. This is a powder measure. I've determined before that the load I want to use is 78 grains of F black powder, and this charger has been so set. This throws an ounce of shot. It also throws, we know, 78 grains of black powder. So consequently, this can work either way. This is just a little more convenient for pouring something straight down the bore because of the funnel right here, particularly if things get a little damp out there. This tool is a multi-purpose tool. This little hammer is using for napping on your flint edge. So you freshen it from time to time if it's needed. This is your nipple wrench, and this extracts the wedge underneath your gun. Okay? This ring contains a few peculiar flintlock maintenance tools. It has two sizes of nipple prick, a little brush here for cleaning out the pan, as well as this rod for working the top screw and loosening the jaws so you can change the flints. And speaking of flints, I have a whole packet of spare flints. Not that I plan to use any. This flint seems to be doing just fine, and I touched it up a little bit. Now we need shot. So we're carrying our shot here. This is lead number 6s. So we have those. And because I'm game shooting, I use a plastic wad for better patterns, which you saw in the previous video. And this has already been pre-prepared, and it has a little cushion in it right here that's made of pieces of torn up plastic bag. The plastic bag is of course for containing our game, and we also have some round balls, a few. If I run into hogs, I can actually engage hogs with this smooth bore with this round ball. But I need to pull the shot charge first. So I also have a worm where I can pull that charge. These tubes enable me to pre-measure powder and shot. So at least for a rapid follow-up shot, I don't have to fiddle around all in the bag just to get these components. And it shortens my loading time considerably to have these preloaded. So we're going to preload these and put them in this, and then just stick these in my pocket so they're right ready to go. So this is a basic kit you need. I've got a little snack to take with me, something if I get thirsty. I'll eat this. And I also have, of course, a knife. This happens to be a buck. It's an inexpensive one. And they're now remaking these, by the way. So this is a good knife. The steel is the same as in all their buck knives, just that this one has very much less expensive scales. But the quality is there. Plus you get a good grip on this knife. It's a good lockback. Okay, so we're about ready to go. All I need to do now is physically load the gun. Then I'll show you how I load it for hunting. The first thing, of course, we start off with is powder. Fill our measure here, somewhat over full. Strike off the excess. Pour down the barrel. The next thing we need is our over powder card. Goes down the barrel. Then we have a fiber wad. Now we have our little plastic shot cup. And our shot, going into a plastic bag to get it. A nice 1 ounce measure full. Now, our overshot card. You want to make sure these cards fit firmly in the barrel because you're going to be walking around with this gun, and in jiggling it you can actually have your shot dribble out of the barrel if the card comes loose. So you want to make sure if you're going to carry this around for days, like in turkey hunting, yeah, that you've got shot in your gun by the time you come to shoot a turkey. It's very embarrassing if all you've got left in there is a wad and 2 or 3 shot hanging around. Okay, so now that charges the gun. We're going to load up our plastic tubes now, so we have some preloaded charges. Wads, all in one bag, so you don't have to fiddle around with opening multitudinous bags whilst you're sorting out your components. You can open one bag and have it done. Shot, measure, flints, powder measure, priming tool goes in my pocket, maintenance tools goes in here, and these are our pre-measured charges, which also goes in my pocket. So these I have to start right in a hurry without having to open my bag. And of course, the ramrod, this just gets thrust in my belt. Now I am going to remove this extension and put it in here just to keep from losing it in the field, because this will unscrew as I walk and could easily lose it. A knife goes in my pocket. My lunch goes in here. Another little tool, the napping tool, goes in there. And this is a spare plastic bag to hold the game. Remember, it's inside from getting bloody. So all this is zipped up in here. And although this is not waterproof, it is at least somewhat water retardant. Scout and I are now delivered in the woods by my trusty ATV, aka lawnmower. And yeah, I use my lawnmowers like an ATV. I don't really want to own another vehicle. I've got 3 lawnmowers I try to keep running, so I don't need anything else. I usually have one without the mower deck on it that I use during deer season, but this happened to be the easiest one to start. Plus I've got more work for it, cutting down some stuff before spring. And we're going to have spring here pretty shortly here in Georgia. And so I'm going to sit here. I put out some corn for hogs, and we may bait hogs in Georgia, so I've got some out. And this will also serve to sort of keep my turkeys around, that they have a little food to come to from time to time. And our turkey season starts in mid-March, so that's not too far away. It's now about the 9th of February. So we're getting things ready. And we'll have a bite to eat. It's a little past 11 o'clock, still terribly cloudy. But nothing has moved yet in the woods. So I'm out here in good time. And we're going to go back and hunt about a mile loop and wind up in this place where I just put out corn. I won't go back there immediately. And see what we can find. Young Scout and Hunter hath returned. And we did slowly make our pass around as I described. and almost nothing was moving today. We did see one squirrel. We engaged at one squirrel, and we killed one squirrel, although it took 2 shots to do it. This pattern of 6 is sort of loose for an animal the size of squirrels, and it didn't really kill it dead at first shot, but we did a follow-up shot, and then we, finished it off. But very disappointing in the woods today. Not even the birds are doing anything. I didn't even see my turkeys. Didn't see any deer, didn't see any hogs. And as I say, only that one squirrel. This is a pretty grim day. Everybody's sleeping in. It's 2 hours before dawn, and we are now ready to put our Scout shotgun back together after cleaning it last night and giving it several hours for all the components to very thoroughly dry. A recap of the hunt and its aftermath. Yesterday's hunt was in very damp weather. We did not have precipitous rain, but we did have enough to foul the powder. That is, the powder got wet, both in the pan as well as back here in the barrel. Consequently, when I came home and attempted to discharge the gun, it would not fire. So I changed the powder in the pan and flashed the pan twice, and the pan powder went off, but still the charge in the barrel would not ignite. What to do? Well, we have an extractor here. So this is what we use to actually pull the charge from the barrel. There is an alternative thing to do, and that is unscrew the vent, carefully pick out the powder that's wet, place a little dry powder in there, make sure your vent hole is clean, reinstall this and shoot again. That is not the recommended method, however. The reason is, if you get loose powder in these threads, you can actually blow this out of the barrel. Not desirable, obviously. So if you have to, yes, that is an alternative method, but one must be very meticulous about how you do it. It is far better to draw the charge. Previously, I told you the importance of making sure you could access these cleanout holes. And this is exactly why. Because even though I dumped what powder I could out of the barrel, the wetted portion from about here to here was still in. Well, black powder components are about 20% water soluble. So what you do is you just put the whole thing in water. The soluble components will come out. Then you proceed to put a patch on a good rod, run it up and down, flush the water through the barrel, and you'll see the powder come out, and your water will be absolutely black. And by all means, after this first initial unloading, just go ahead and dump that water. You don't want to use it anymore. Then, with clean, soapy water, proceed to clean your barrel as you usually would. And you can check, as I did, with a flashlight shining all the way down the barrel to make sure that you have all the wad components out of there. Because with the fiber wads in particular, these don't tend to pull out cleanly, and oftentimes you'll have little fragments of wad material in the barrel that you want to make sure are long gone. Because these can smolder in the barrel if they don't get discharged from it and actually cause an ignition of a charge as you reload, if you reload very rapidly or attempt to, as if you have a struggling piece of game and you're trying to get another charge in the barrel in a hurry. We also found that we needed a smaller nipple prick, so we have recovered one. This is a size, about the size of a sewing needle. So this is what we need to work this gun. We also had the jaws loosen a little bit, so consequently I need to carry a screwdriver. Now we have reloaded our little tubes here, so we now have shot and powder ready to load in a hurry, and we're carrying one batch of components in a pocket so that we have them there and we don't have to fool around in the bag to get things, and we can put a charge in the barrel in a hurry. If you're wondering what happens to this plastic padding that I put in my shot cups, well, this is what happens. It just gets discharged from the barrel. It doesn't ignite, it doesn't smolder, it doesn't burn. It just gets blown out of the front of the barrel, and then you can just pick it up to keep from littering the woods. Or even reuse it for that matter. So that's fine. Now we found that the hit on the squirrel was through the rear quarters here. And so the rear protected the vitals of the animal, so the animal was not killed cleanly with the first shot. Well, with a 12-bore gun, if you shoot a piece of game at close range, you're going to fill it so full of shots you can't eat it. So what we did is we held off a little bit in front of the head with the idea of getting it with the fringe of the pattern and just catching the head in 4 quarters. And that's exactly what happened, and we managed to salvage the squirrel without literally blowing it to pieces. So we're now ready to get Scout reloaded and go out hopefully this morning for a little bit before the rain comes. We have 90% chance of rain today. So it's going to be touch and go if I can get in a hunt before the rain actually starts very seriously. Well, our rain is coming down fiercely out there as I speak. But we did manage to get out, and we did manage to get one more squirrel. Yeah, we did. And so how have things transpired? Well, we did up our load 1/8 of an ounce, and this particular squirrel, the second one, happened to be moving along a branch, so I had a better shot at the body. And we hit it 7 times, and we did kill it because more body was actually exposed in the vital areas very cleanly with 1 shot. So Scout did good. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
Among my prize-winning books that consider muzzleloading hunting, I have Extreme Muzzleloading, and also talk about it in backyard deer hunting, as well as an inexpensive e-book, Hunting with Muzzleloading Shotguns and Smoothbore Muskets. The Little Scout is not as effective as other, much more expensive Flintlock shotguns. However, it will work. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 650 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.